Okay, so this was homework from yesterday. Notice the chart looked very similar to the one that we've been working on. So I just want to quickly tick up that last one right here. Okay, looking at this equation, what form is it in? What form is this in? Equal? Vertex form. So you can easily tell what your vertex is. So your vertex is -1, -3. If this is x plus 1, remember the x value is the opposite side. So it's -1 and -3. Okay, so that's my vertex. There's my vertex roughly. Does my parabola open up or down? Yeah, opens down because of this negative right here. So for my little sketch, there we go. Okay. Whenever you do these questions, you should always visualize how it looks like. Take 10 seconds for each question just to visualize, because a lot of people, once they see the question, they don't think, they just jump right to it, jump into the calculation and so forth. But take 10 seconds just to think, where's the vertex, what it should look like, and then for your steps afterwards, see if it matches up with the graph you have in mind. Axis of symmetry, make sure you write it as x equal. If you don't write the x equal, it's not an equation. So in this case, axis of symmetry, it's your x value of your vertex. Maximum, minimum, open up, open down. So we said opens downwards. Since it opens down, that means this point is a maximum. Now, instead of writing maximum at y equals -3, just to get us used to writing the range and domain, I wrote it like this. So y is anything less than -3, which is aka maximum at -3. Yep. No. But if I ask you what is the domain and what is the range, then you have to write it with this notation. Okay. By the way, here, what is my domain for this parabola? XER. Good job. One free mark right there. Okay. My range, y less than or equal to -3. Okay. Translations. You can either make sure you use these words. Okay, translate and shift means the same thing. I don't want you to use the word move. Okay, it's in grade 11 and 12. You would use translate or shift for left, right, up, down. So this one, left one. Okay. And another thing is, notice your vertex is on the left side. That tells you, hint, hint, probably you're moving your graph left. Okay, so it should match up. Shift down 3, stretch by 2, and also the word reflected. Okay, don't say flip. Reflected on the x-axis. Okay. If you just write reflected, you're not gonna get the mark. You're gonna get half a mark. Reflected on the x-axis. Again, grade 11, you do reflected on the y-axis. That's why I want you guys to get used to using these terms. Okay. On the back, you were to graph these two parabolas. Now I want to go over the 3 methods that you could use to graph the parabola. All right. So first method, let's say the step method. So looking at this, I know my vertex is 2, -10, and it opens upwards. So times everything by 3 because it's stretched by 3. That's my A value. So my new steps are 3, 9, and 15. Okay, so using the step method, 2, -10 is all the way down here. And then I'm going to go over 1 on each side and up 3. Over 1 on each side and up 9. Over 1 on each side and up 15. Okay, so there's my 7 points. Okay, how long did that take? Maybe a minute. So out of the 3 methods, I personally like the step method most because it's the fastest. Okay. Second method, let's say I want to do the transformation method. So this is y equals x squared, which is the original parabola. Now looking at this equation, I know that each of the points I have to go through these transformations. So my point right here, 0, 0, 0 times 3 is 0. And then I'm going to move it over to the right by 2. And then I'm going to move that point down by 10. And so therefore, there's my point. This point shifted to here. Same thing right here. This point at 0, 1. So it's a stretch by 3. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. So that point is now over here. I have to shift that point over by 2. 1, 2. And shift that point down by 10. Zip. There. So that point is right here now. Same thing right here. This point is at 2 and 4. So stretch by 3, move right by 2, down by 10. So at 4 times 3 is 12. So my point is all the way up here now. I've got to move it over right 2 and down 10. So that point is now right here. So this point went over here now. All right. If you do that for every single point of that parabola, you'll get this parabola. Okay, so that's transformation. Graphing the parabola by moving each point to the new position. Okay. Third method, table of value. All right, so table of value, first off, looking at what my vertex is. So looking at this, my vertex is -8 and 15. So I want that middle to be -8 and 15. If I just choose any random x values, I'm not going to get the nice parabola. So -8 and 15. And then because I have a denominator of 4 right here, the trick that I taught you guys is you can go by the denominator as your scale. So since it's over 4, I'm going to use 4 as my scale. So -12, -16, -4, and 0. Right? Now if I substitute it in here, I'll show you guys how to substitute it in the calculator. All right, so -1/4 is just the same as -1 divided by 4, which is -0.25. So -0.25 bracket, I'm going to sub in -16. -16 plus 8, close the bracket, square it, plus 15. I get -1. Okay. Next one, same thing. Plug in -12. So -0.25 bracket, -12 plus 8 bracket, square it, plus 15, press equal, I get 11. All right. If I did my math correctly, notice it's symmetrical. And that's how it should be because it's a parabola. Okay. So if let's say you plug in -4 in here and you didn't get 11, you want to check either this one or this one to make sure you didn't mix up your numbers because it should be symmetrical. Okay. Once you get all those points, you can plot it. So plot it on the graph. It will look something like this. Okay. And what I was saying, always verify looking at this. My vertex is -5 and 15, and it opens downwards looking wider. So -8 and 15 opens down, and it's wider than normal.
How did you choose your x values for that one?
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at this vertex form, I know my vertex is -8 and 15, right? Yeah, so I have this chosen right here. Okay, I will always want that in the middle. And then this is my denominator, the -1/4. If I just use, like, for example, -7, -6, and -9, -10, I'm going to get decimals because of this 1/4. So instead, I went by fours. So -8, -4, 0. And then if I go down 4, that means it's now negative 12. Down 4 again, negative 16.
So if you use the denominator of anything, will that make it so?
Yeah, if you use the denominator, you'll get nice integers for your y value. Otherwise, you're going to get decimals. Decimals are fine as well, but it's integers are nicer. Okay, and then there you go. So that's how this graph looks like, and that's how this graph looks like. So this is the blue graph, and that's the red graph. Hey, do you think you need to graph tomorrow? Yeah. So there you go. You know what one of the question is on tomorrow's part B. Part B is going to ask you to graph a parabola. Okay. What is the domain of this graph? The blue graph? XER. This point right here was 2, negative 10. So what is my range? So domain is XER, and my range? Yep. Anything higher than negative 10. Good. All right, that's your range. Sorry, that's your domain, that's your range. Nice. Similarly, okay, what about this one? This one, my vertex was negative 8 and 15. Domain. Thank you. If one of you guys get this wrong on the test, XCR, I'm going to make you guys write it out like 100 times. And what is my range? Yep. Y less than or equal to 15. Perfect. Okay. Written descriptions of what happened here. What does that negative tell us? No, not down. No. The proper terms, Victor? Reflected on the x-axis. Okay. 1/4?
Compression by 1/4.
Compressed by 1/4. The 8? Correct? Shifted left by 8. And finally, the plus 15. Victor? Shifted up 15. Good. Okay. So remember, these are supposed to be easy marks. We did it so like for the last 5-7 days. So don't lose marks on these silly mistakes. Don't say flip. Don't say down. You have to use proper terms. Okay. So that's one question you'll see on the part B, the written part. Why don't you guys try number 3 right here. Okay. And the second type of question you're going to see is this type. All right, so try number 3. Okay. Try it out. For both of them, I want you to write it in standard form. Yeah. This is the page 204, number 3. Page 204, number 3. But I want you guys to all try it. Try these, both of these. Write it in standard form. Okay, and then in 10 minutes, we'll take this up.